Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft, and this, my friends, is the Q&A episode. Y'all had questions, and I have answers for you. If you didn't see it on my channel, I put up a post asking for your questions, and many of them are things I've actually answered many times before, and especially on my live streams, but there's always new people rolling into the channel. So some of you may be familiar with the answers to some of these questions, but let's get into it and enjoy a Q&A episode. What is your fondest memory of Hermitcraft? That's a great question. I have a lot of them, and a lot of them are actually like behind the scenes stuff from meetings and whatnot. But it's always going to be, as many of you know, episode 299, Professional Minecrafters. Go check out that episode if you want to know what I'm talking about. That was the most fun I think I've ever had with the Hermits. Do you actively check studio and your stats on videos after they're published, or do you post and let it go? Essentially, I post and let it go, but I do check on studio, mainly to just look at some comments and see some numbers in case there's anything out of the ordinary or anything's gone wrong. And in the past, I've been a little bit more obsessive about those numbers and stuff, but these days, I tend to just stay away from that stuff and just try and enjoy making my videos. What does the Hermitcraft Discord look like? I imagine it's probably not that interesting because it just looks like a Discord server, right? But maybe you're asking about how it's organized. Well, there's a bunch of different sections for like different activities and things that we do, like talking about the vanilla server or tech chat, and then other channels for things like shopping on the server and announcing events. And really, it's just about mostly just coordinating all the things we do together as a group. Was there a candidate that rejected the offer of joining Hermitcraft? And I had to think about this. I don't think since I became air quote steward at the end of season 2 that anyone ever rejected an invitation. But before then, there was a period where lots of people were coming and going in and out of Hermitcraft. So I think it's entirely possible that in its early days, some people probably did reject an invite. Will you come back to MCC? Hey, if they would have me, I would love to come back again because I had so much fun. It's an amazing competition. So yeah, if ever I'm welcomed back, I will be there. What is your opinion on pineapple on pizza? Oh, this is always a discussion starter, isn't it? I'm a really non-fussy eater. Like, I'll kind of eat anything and be alright with it. So I totally go for pineapple on pizza. What I want to try is kiwi on pizza. If ever I see that option, I'm going to give it a go. Do you feel left out as a faceless YouTuber? Consider the fact that I do have a face and I have the choice to show it whenever I want to. The answer is no. I'm very happy with the fact that I chose not to put my face on this, and I'm going to keep it that way. How does the Hermitcraft team resolve conflicts of interest / opinion on how the server is run / should be? Have there been any particular sticking issues? I think the way we do this is with two things. One of those is creating like a space where everyone feels comfortable to speak up and say what they want to say about any particular decision that's being made. And the second thing is compromise. There's a spirit of like, to get along, we know that we're going to have to compromise on occasions. So it's not about each individual person perceiving, can I get my way because this is how I feel? But it's more about what's good for the group. And so a lot of time we discuss through whatever decision we're making and we find that middle ground that works for everyone. Where do you generally get inspiration, not just for this season in particular? I think my inspiration comes from my inner creativity. I'm the sort of person that sees things that are artistic with a creative lens, like a remixing lens. If I see a painting, I can imagine it being done differently. And so for Minecraft, everything you see in the game is creative. It was created by someone, and you can go into that same world and create your own things. So generally, it's just engaging with the hermits around me and seeing Minecrafty stuff going on. It really like triggers the part of my brain that likes to remix things, and so I take a little bit of something from all over the place, and that's my inspiration for the things that I build. What is your favorite kind of sandwich? Well, first of all, I'm not really a sandwich eater. I don't particularly like eating lots of bread. But if I had to eat one, it would be peanut butter and jelly. Or peanut butter and jam for us Brits. You've mentioned before how a lot of the decisions made by the Hermitcraft group require everyone to agree unanimously. Out of curious, is this process anonymous? Say, for example, if someone was opposed to adding a new hermit but didn't want to tell the group. We don't make it anonymous. We want everyone to feel comfortable without being able to speak up and say what they want to say. And I also think that helps you make better decisions, because then information isn't left in the dark. You understand where people are and how they feel, and that leads you to a better decision being made than if some people held back their feelings. Have you ever encountered a Hermitcraft fan IRL without them knowing that you're X? I have not, but I know one of the hermits has a great story about being on a bus and then the kids in front of them are all talking about mumbo jumbo or something like that. That one comes to mind. Do you plan on ending or leaving Hermitcraft at any point? I don't have a plan for that, but I know that it'll happen eventually, so I'm just enjoying this while it's still around. Are you happy today? Yes, I am. I waited for a day when I was in a naturally good mood to record this, so yeah, I'm feeling real good today. What is your favorite thing about Hermitcraft? If you were to join another SMP, which one would it be? You know, I've well and truly had my SMP fix after over 10, 11 years on Hermitcraft, so I'm not particularly looking to join another SMP at any point in time. However, there are other creators out there that I would really like to play with, and some of them actually I have gotten to relatively recently. Is there any video that you hated to make but still had to upload it? On occasion, I've sort of been caught in a space where maybe something you're trying to do in the game isn't quite working, or you've aimed for something too big and it's been a bit of a grind. I've never really hated making a video, but some of them have been a bit of a grind to get to the end of. Will there be a special event or collab like last season? Well, every season has special events and collabs, and this season has been no exception, so there'll probably be more of that, and in the next season, and in the one after that, maybe. A common thread I've noticed with many of these questions is that they ask about the internal workings of Hermitcraft Group. Some of them, I imagine, you choose not to answer because you think some things should remain private. How do you decide what should remain private versus what you share publicly about the internal workings of Hermitcraft? Okay, so this all comes down to communication and discussion, having an open space to let everyone say how they feel, and on occasion, there will be discussions about where the line is between what we're allowed to say about how things work and what don't. So if ever that line gets stepped over, you come together as a group to discuss it, you foster that open atmosphere to let people discuss it, and then everyone gets to be informed on understanding where the line is again. What is your favorite MCC minigame and why? I think I gotta say Sands of Time. I just love the structure of it. It makes you feel like there's not a time limit on you because you can keep going further and getting more sand. Of course, eventually that will run out, but I like that more open-ended feel to it. It feels like you could keep going for as long as you wanted. How many hours are you on your PC, and how many hours do you spend editing if you don't have an editor? Most of the videos you see on my channel, all done by me. I think what you're trying to ask is how much time is spent playing, recording, and editing. And I reckon about 80% plus is playing the actual game. And then the last 20%, most of that is probably recording, you know, talking and playing. And then the last bit is editing, because my style of editing for the videos doesn't demand too much of me. How do you solve disagreements? The hermits always seem like they get on completely, but in votes, I imagine there's some disagreements. So how do you go about sorting them? As I've said several times already, it's about that open communication. But I think another point to remember is that we're mostly mature people here who want to get along with one another. So a disagreement isn't the end of the world. It isn't a big deal. It's not a source of drama or conflict. It's something to communicate, to get through and find common ground about. Which gaming district from any Hermitcraft season is your favorite? I gotta say, Season 3. Just because it was the first, and so many of us loved the idea and got involved, it became very big and well fleshed out, full of memorable games. Maybe not some of the best games that have ever been made on Hermitcraft. I mean, Decked Out, hello. But yeah, I think Season 3 was my favourite. How did you start playing guitar, and can you play any other instruments? So, I got my first guitar when I was like 15 or 16, didn't really know how to do anything with it at all, and only picked up things slowly over the years by doodling and whatnot. But eventually I got to the place where I understood like the basics and then learned how to learn, if that makes sense. When it comes to other instruments, I had a keyboard and I used to like write melodies on that and play the occasional song on it. And I also got a drum kit and I can play the drums, but my main focus is just the guitar. How are you not burned out from playing Minecraft after all this time? The big difference is that I have an audience when I play the game, so my creative expressions get shared with a lot of people, and that is really satisfying over and over again, so it's kind of hard not to be burned out when you're playing with an audience watching. Which hermit pays the electricity bill for the server, and how much does it cost? So we split the cost for the server among, is it 28 of us now? And as you can imagine, although the server is quite expensive, when it's split among 28 people, it doesn't cost that much. I've heard that there's Hermitcraft meetings. What type of things are usually discussed during these? Is it stuff like, hey, don't watch my next episode that has spoilers? Is it budgeting and more professional stuff, or a mixture of both? It's generally just about like what we're doing on the server, activities and things we want to do together. Maybe it's coordinating a live stream weekend, and then things like data packs and resource packs, stuff that we're doing with that. So it's very Minecraft oriented most of the time. Another non-Hermitcraft, but YouTube related. I sometimes will pause the video and come back an hour later and finish it. Does that affect your analytics? I always wondered that. Sorry if I am off topic. If it does or it doesn't, don't worry about it. Just watch the videos and enjoy them. And if that means you need to pause and come back later, that's totally fine. I have two questions. What inspired you to start YouTube? If Minecraft didn't exist, do you see yourself starting a YouTube channel? If yes, what do you think you would post? So what inspired me to make Minecraft tutorials was a mixture of, wanting to give it a go myself, but seeing people do them really bad, like recording at night and talking about other things. And it just gave me this impetus of like, I could do this. I could be more direct and talk about the thing people are here for. As for, Minecraft no longer existing and starting another YouTube channel, like if that happened tomorrow, I know the answer would be no, and probably for a long time. I put so much of my energy into this that I just can't really like transpose it to something different. So I think I'd need like a lot of time to pass by. But then I reckon something probably would come along and I'd want to share it with people, so it's possible. I recently started following religiously the YouTube channels The Great War and World War II, and I was surprised to see you there in the comments on the first channel. Can you talk more about your historical interests? How do you connect with the recent and not so recent past? How does it affect in your day-to-day life in terms of remembrance and attitude towards others? So my interest in history is quite generalized. I find most things in the past to be fascinating to learn about them and how they inform the present. But I am drawn to a lot of the darker stuff like the World Wars. And I think that's because the worst of humanity, the worst things that we've done, I kind of believe we're all capable of, and that we shouldn't see ourselves as separate from those things, but learn from them. So my interests in the wars of the past are kind of related to like seeing the worst of humanity to understand how to become better, if that makes sense. What are your personal feelings about the lore for the Evil X character? A lot of people comment that they miss him, and even today there's still fan art and fan stories being made. I mean, that's fantastic. I love that people love Evil X. I love Evil X too, but having a character like that and telling a story through them isn't like my main passion. It's something that I've experimented with and tried to do things with, and the most of that I've enjoyed. It's been fun, but it isn't like a fire that's always there to keep going. So for now, Evil X is on ice. I noticed that all custom costumes are limited to heads and carved pumpkins and that, but you made custom armor and weapons for your Bone Mage attire last season. So what are the stipulations for those? Wouldn't using leather or gold helmets cure the pumpkin overlay issue, as some hermits have, or did you get in trouble for taking it too far like Dokusan duping? I think you're misunderstanding like the differences here. So custom models are made through carved pumpkins, and then custom textures for things like the items that I had last season. Those are separate things, and I did not get in trouble for doing them. If you were to remake one of your old Hermitcraft bases, which one would it be, and what would you do different? Oh, it would absolutely be Season 5 of Hermitcraft. I really feel like the whole thing came together ever so well, And what I would do different is I would finish it. I would finish building those biomes around the outside. I know a lot of the community is unsure about many hermits' boundaries regarding fan art, shipping, and fan work fanfics. Could you at least share your boundaries on it? Like what you're comfortable with regarding your character, the characters you've created, such as Evil Xisuma. Does he have different boundaries from you? Also, side questions, what are the preferred pronouns for you and your character? So as for pronouns, I don't really care for them much. You can address me however you like, and that's fine. And for boundaries, like, I have my own, things that I like and don't like that I see, but, that's just me. If someone out there wants to create something with something I've created, I kind of feel like creativity is the space to do what you want. So I might see something that I'm not so great with, but, like, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. How do you plan your day? With your workout routine, regular uploads on multiple channels, actually playing on the server, music, I assume you have a decent social life, etc. It seems like your day has more than 24 hours. Yeah, you got to remember that I am, like, self-employed, I am my own boss, and that kind of means you don't have that big 8-hour chunk where you have to go to work. Obviously, this is my job, but it just allows it to seamlessly mixing with everything else, so it's quite easy, I think, for me to just be in a routine and keep, going through the motions and doing what I do, and that amounts to this sort of level of output that you see. Was there ever a moment looking back at Hermitcraft through the years that you think defined what Hermitcraft is now? And do you think you actually grasp how much you changed the trajectory of Hermitcraft for the better when you chose to take charge in its early days? I do grasp that, but I don't think it was so much me. It was more that a group like this needed direction. It needed leadership. It needed somewhere to go. And that could have been anyone, really. Once you're steering the ship in a direction, then you're going somewhere. As for what defines what Hermitcraft is now, I really think that Grian joining kind of created a before and after for Hermitcraft. Like, it just took it to another level and made it into what it is today. What was going through your head when you created your album Soulside Eclipse? Did it have any emotional aspects on your life/content creation? And what made you want to come back after many years? It was made before I became a content creator. It was definitely tied to the emotional aspects of my life. Some songs were literally written out of feelings or things that happened to me that I wanted to express. And what made me want to come back to it is that whenever you hear someone talking about a bucket list or things to do before you die, the first thing that always came into my head was making that album. Like, I'd started working on it, and then all of a sudden I got pulled into this Minecraft YouTube thing. And I'm so glad I got back round to doing it, as it kind of like lifted a weight off my shoulders. And I felt much freer as a person ever since I've got that album done. I hope music related questions are okay. Are there any instruments you would want to learn to play but haven't yet? I've always thought it would be cool to learn to play the piano well, but I've never had the drive to stick with it. Hey, just do a little bit every day. Just make sure you're always plucking away at that thing that you want to do. And then on the days when you feel it, you'll do, more than 10 minutes. Maybe you'll play for an hour, but just get 10 minutes every day. As for like playing an instrument, I love music so much I could go for anything. But, you want to get really good at something as opposed to, just dilly-dallying on a whole bunch of instruments. So, I love all instruments, but guitar is mine. What is your favorite Meshuggah song? Ooh, easy. It's New Millennium Cyanide Christ. Not only do I love the lyrics on that song, which is a great read, the riff at the end, that one will forever mesmerize me. And probably give me some sort of neck injury as I get older. How much of Hermitcraft is scripted? Basically 0. We don't write scripts to do Hermitcraft. How do you stay motivated? Discipline is the word. Be disciplined about the things that you want to do, because day to day your moods change. And some days you feel like doing it, and some days you don't. And on the days that you don't, if you choose to do those things anyway, you'll find your mood will come round, and eventually you'll feel the air quotes motivation. So discipline is the real thing for me. I don't stay motivated. I'm disciplined. I keep doing and doing, and eventually that motivation, inspiration feeling will come along. Do you ever plan on starting another video series apart from Hermitcraft and snapshot vids on your main channel? I answered a question earlier about planning. I have 0 plans right now, but in the future, maybe. We'll have to wait and see. How did you come up with your channel name, xisumavoid? Well, I took the word music, I flipped it around, changed the X to a C, added an A, that was the name Xisuma, and then when I went to get that on YouTube, it was taken, and I was listening to a band called Void Through Materialism, so I just chucked Void on the end, and that's how we got the channel name. What is your exercise routine, and how do you stay healthy? My exercise routine is basically getting up, stretching, doing mobility work, and then having a workout in the morning. I'll have a second one later on in the day, and on the days that I don't work out, I'll probably go for a run. I get on the bike occasionally too. And as for staying healthy, I think it's about exercise, it's about good diet, but probably most importantly is getting a good 8 hours of sleep every night. Hi X, love the Hermitcraft videos, but I wanted to know if you take requests for your music blog. There's a bunch of artists that I think you'd really enjoy. Sure, I'm always open ears to trying out new music. I will say though, I've been deliberately more selective lately. I've been trying to shift how I spend my time, and I don't want to spend quite as much time trying to get through like a stack of albums and writing up on them. But anyway, yeah, I'm open ears. If you listen to it, what is your favorite episode of the Imp and Skid podcast other than the one you were in? My favorite episode, I think, was with Martin in the Littlewood. He's kind of like a legend in the Minecraft community. He's been around for a really long time. He was part of the Yogscast. He's not someone that I ever tuned in and watched much, but I'd always see him pop up all over the place. And then listening to that podcast, like him as a creator really clicked. But I'll also say it's not just his one. I think they just have a great interview style where when you get introduced to a creator, you really get to understand them. It was the same thing with Scott Smager and recently Jimmy as well, because obviously I knew the other hermits already that have been on there. But yeah, the Martin one really caught my attention. Hi X, do you think Mojang would ever make Minecraft 2? If so, what do you think it would be like? I'd hope it would be just like regular Minecraft with more content, but plus cross-platform. So no Java/Bedrock, just one edition, and minus all the lagginess. Yeah, I'd love for everything to be kind of like unified under one thing, but here's the deal. When Microsoft brought Minecraft, they signed it under a deal that they could never make a Minecraft 2. And because of that, that's why you pretty much see these continuous updates continuing for free. And you also see them trying to branch off with these spin-off games like Dungeons and Legends. So basically, there's probably not going to be a Minecraft 2. What is your favorite song to play on guitar? Do you have any pet peeves or particular features in people that will immediately make you wary of a person? So as for favorite song, the thing is, like, you learn a song, you play it a lot, and then the magic does fade a little. You learn other songs, you come back to some. So there are some that have like a little more lasting power. But really, it's all about like getting stuck into what feels good in the moment. So right now, there's like a couple of songs that I'm really into. But then in a couple of months, it'll be another couple of songs. So it tends to just like kind of move around a bit. As for people and things getting on my nerves, etc. Okay, barring the kind of like signs of someone being nefarious or having malintent, I try and let go of all kind of judgments of other people. If they talk in a way or they do a thing that, you know, air quotes, gets on your nerves, I try and let go of that stuff because I feel like it's more on me than it is on them. So I try to just be as least judgmental as I can. What is your favorite song that you've made? Mine is probably Arcane Pandemonium. I think I usually just go to the Elemental Forge. There's just something a little special about how that song came together. It really kind of clicked in and made the rest of the record appear around it, I think. So yeah, that one for me. What's it like being able to make content for a living? It's utterly fantastic, but I do think you have to be a little bit mad and obsessive to do this, because it kind of sounds like a cushy thing, playing games for a living, but you have to be really dedicated and put in a lot of time. And if that doesn't work for you, it's going to be a very grindy job. What is your educational background? You seem very logical, almost like a computer scientist. My background education is very poor because I did not take my education seriously. And I would highly encourage you, young people out there in education, to take it seriously. Because, you know, learning is one of life's biggest gifts. So, the answering of questions can't go on forever, and we have to put a wrap on this one, which is what we're doing right now. That's all I'm going to have for you in this special Q&A episode of Hermitcraft. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. Thanks as always for your support, and I'll see you soon with another one. Bye-bye.